Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Shop Talk with Adam. And this time, I wanted to go ahead and touch base on another subject that's been requested of me, and that is drill grinding. So I thought I would go ahead and show you the way that I grind my drills, and I'm going to show you both methods of actual hand grinding and my other drill grinder right here. Okay. So first thing I'm going to start with is the drill grinder. Okay, this drill grinder right here is manufactured by Lyle, and unfortunately they don't make this drill grinder anymore, and it's kind of upsetting because this is a really nice item right here, and it's worked really good for us in the shop. Ever since we got this, I've used the hell out of it, and it's good for any size drill from 1/8 up to 1 1/4. So that's a pretty wide range of drills that are commonly used in the shop. So that's why this machine works really good. And I don't do a whole lot of hand grinding anymore, except for the big drills that's over 1 1/4. So anything 1 1/4 or smaller, I always just grind right here. Okay. And I thought I'd give you what I think is kind of a funny story about this. Way back whenever we were in the old shop, and I want to say this was probably 10-12 years ago. That's how long we've had this. My dad bought this for us, okay? And he's always just kind of had a dry sense of humor. You just kind of got to get to know him to know when he's joking around and when he's trying to pull your leg and have fun. But at that time I was still pretty young and still fairly new to the shop, but I've already been involved with it so much that I love tools and I love the machine shop tooling that we got, and was always excited anytime we got something new. And I remember one day, it was actually in the winter time, because I remember we had our big door shut and we had the heater going, but you know, the big brown truck showed up and he brought in this pretty good sized box that had MSC on it, and everybody that's bought from MSC knows those boxes because it's got MSC on the side of it. So he brought it in there and sat it down, and I had no idea that we had bought anything during that time. So I was kind of excited. I was like, well, what is this? And Dad was out there, and I asked him, I said, what we get from MSC? And he just, we'll just open it up and see what we got. So I opened it up, you know, opened the thing up and pulled this other big box out, and it was labeled as a Lyle drill grinder. And as I was pulling it out, looking at it, my dad's over there just like, oh, I guess your granddad bought you a drill grinder. I remember that. I'll never forget that. I actually think it was kind of funny, just when I think about how Dad has always been with his sense of humor, you know, telling me, oh, I guess your granddad bought you a tool. And he didn't tell me anything about it when he bought it. I had no idea we were getting one. And that's just a good memory of the old shop, should I say. And so everything before we got this little drill grinder was always ground by hand. And that's a good way to learn. Always, if you're just starting out, you need to learn how to grind your drill bits, get a good feel for it, and then you'll have an understanding on how a drill actually is supposed to work and how the grind is supposed to be on the end of it. So, saying all that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to demonstrate how I grind a drill on this machine. Now, there's quite a bit involved in the setup, and I think it's going to be a little complicated to try to explain how all of this works. This is your attachment here that goes into it. This is what holds your drill bit. You've got a lot of different settings on this thing that you have to adjust in order to do the correct grind that you want. And then you've also got a setting over here that you have to adjust on this one. But if you get into drill grinding, you're going to get your machine. You just need to read your manual. That's the way I did it. it took me probably a couple weeks to really get comfortable with this machine and started grinding the drill. And then after that, of course, it was, hey Adam, will you go grind this drill for me? You know, so I was always doing the drill grinding after that. So what I'm going to do, I've got a big drill right here also. This is a 1 7/8 drill, and it doesn't really need to be ground. I do have one little chip spot on the cutting edge there, but I wanted to just kind of give you a quick demonstration on my take on hand grinding. So I've got this one out, and we're going to go to the big grind and do that one. And I've also got my my drill gauge that I've already showed you in a previous video. I haven't even used yet. This will be the first time I use it, but I'll show you how I use this. So what I'm going to do is try to get you in here as close as I can to show you what I'm doing. And basically I'm just kind of demonstrating how a drill grinder will work, how this drill grinder will work, and how it works for me. Okay, so I got the index open. Most of my drills are in good shape because I keep them ground. I'm going to pull the 1/2 inch out. This doesn't need to be ground, but I'm going to go ahead and grind it anyway just for a demonstration. So get all this junk out of the way. Let me get you under the light. I'll show you, hopefully you can see, it's not bad shape at all. It's a good drill, but I'm going to grind it anyway. Okay, I actually kind of dug through there trying to find one that was chipped or broken. I couldn't find any, so I just decided to pull the 1/2 inch out. Okay, all right. Well, let me give you a little quick shot of the drill grinder itself. This is it. You can see on the top there's the tag, Lyle. I believe that's model H1000. It's kind of faded, it's hard to see. Okay, but that's the machine itself. This is where you do your adjusting and your feed in and out for your grinding here. And right there you've got your point angle that you can adjust, and this is just a little sticker that's trying to come off. I'm trying not to mess with it, but I've got it set on 118 degrees, which is a standard grind for a jobber drill. I always keep it set on that. I try not to change it. All my drills are pretty much ground as a jobber drill. So you got your attachment here. You've got another setting here that tells you drill size, and I pretty much just try to keep this one alone. I leave it pretty much around 5/8 to 3/4 because I can make it grind whatever I need to do, and really all that does is just adjust how far in or out this piece is. Okay, you've got another setting here with a screw. You adjust this one to set how much relief angle you want, and I've got it set to where I like it. So what I'm going to do, you've got some more settings right here, and like I said, this kind of gets pretty involved, so I really don't want to sit here and try to explain every single thing that I'm trying to do, and I just want to show you me setting this thing up and grinding a drill bit. Okay, but you got a couple things here on the end. You got to have a screwdriver, and you loosen these 2 screws up, and this moves. I will try to show you, there is a scribed line right there, and that's one of the important things you have to focus on when setting this drill bit in here. You also have to focus on, it's a little tight still. Maybe the ambulances will get out here in a second, you can hear me. So you have to adjust this over on your flute. Okay, and I understand all this because I practice so much with it. All right, but I'm going to stick my drill down in here, and this is your stop here. This is just another rest, a little V rest for the back end of the drill, and you have to position this drill bit around and push this sucker up here, and you got to align the edge of this cutting flute here with this scribed line. You want to try to get them in line. See, I'm having a hard time showing you and doing this, but I usually just pull it up next to me here, and I eyeball it. And once I get that flute and that scribed line straight in line with each other, then I'll go ahead and clamp this thing down. And you want approximately about 1/8 of an inch sticking out beyond this little plate. Once you get it locked here, then you want to push this one over against the flute. See how I did that? Push it over against the flute. That's going to create your stop position whenever you flip it around. It's going to come up next to that, next to your cutting edge on the other side. So you snug these up lightly, don't over tighten. Alright, and I've got about the right amount of stick out, about 1/8 of an inch or so. You don't want too much, and you don't want too little, because then you start rubbing. So I got it about where I want. I got it snug, so then you tighten, you loosen the bottom, your stop plate, and you just bring it up till it touches and snug it up. Alright, now we're ready to grind this drill right here. So let me see if I can get you in, get a little bit closer and show you what I'm doing. I'm going to stick this in right here, slide it in. There's a little detent right there in a groove. Alright, you see this rotates, and this is how you actually grind the drill right here. You rotate it up and down as you're feeding this in. You got another knob down here that feeds in, and you just rotate it up and down. And you also have another lever here that positions this where you want it. You have to do that whenever, depending on what size drill bit you got in there, okay? So I'm going to try to get you in a position where you can see what I'm doing. I think that this might work right here. I'm going to try this and see how it does. Alright. And one more thing I want to say before I get started on this. I know some of you guys are probably going to think or say something about me grinding this drill over here close to the machines. I'm completely aware of that. But I haven't made me a basically a stand for this to sit on over there by my other grinders and my sander. It's one of my future projects. I just haven't got to it yet. But I do plan on moving this drill grinder down there away from the machines. So I'm just kind of doing this as a demonstration right here to show you what I'm doing. Alright, so I got my light on, and I'm going to see if you guys can see this now. Turn the grinder on, put your safety glasses on. I'm going to feed this drill in real close, but I want to bring it over here to the left side of the wheel. I'm going to feed in until it just touches. Alright, it's just touching. Alright, then you start rotating it up and down. And that's why I kind of like it on this angle. I can look behind here and see it. And I can see it cutting that edge there. And once you get it cut, you just have to keep looking at it. Once you get it cut and it's cleaned up that cutting edge, you have to lock this thumb screw down in here. Alright, and what that'll do, that's going to create a stop position for the next side. So I've got it ground where I want on that flute. I've got it locked, and then I'm going to back it off. I'm going to pull this out, okay? Hopefully you can see that good. I'm trying to get you a few angles. It's got a nice grind on it there. So then once you get this one ground, you've got this piece set up for your stop. I've got this set. So you loosen the clamp. I'm going to rotate it around. I'm going to just rotate it lightly up against that plate, and it's down against the bottom stop. And then I'm going to lock that one. Okay, so now I'm ready to grind the other side. Stick it back in here. Bring it up close. Turn the machine on. come up till you touch it, and you just keep rotating up and down so it grinds. And I'm just coming up with this little thumb screw down here until it stops against that little stop sleeve down here. And you just rotate it a few times. I'm looking at it and I can see that it's got a good grind on it. Back it off. Push it out. And you should be able to see the drill there. It's got a nice grind on it. You want to take it out, you just loosen this up. Alright, pull it out of there. There's your nice, fresh ground drill bit. And if you do everything right, it should cut perfectly center, even chips on each side of the drill. If it doesn't do that, it means you did something wrong here and you got to regrind it again. But I've had enough practice in it. I kind of gotten pretty good at it. All right, so there's a demonstration on grinding the smaller drills in this drill grinder right here. You can also do multi-fluted drills. You can do 3 and 4 fluted also on this because of the way that drill attachment is made. All right. So I got you set up over here by the big grinder, and we're going to go ahead and touch off this 1 7/8 drill bit. And as I said, this really isn't a bad grind now. This is one of my older grinds, and you can see it's still doing its job, but I do have a little chipped edge right there in the flute. And not necessarily wanting to do this perfect and go over there and drill something with it, but I'm kind of giving you a demonstration on how I hand grind a drill bit, and this is the way I was taught how to do it. Okay, got my drill gauge. You use this to gauge your angle on the end of the drill there. Okay, and you use these lines out here on the end on this face here to gauge your chisel point. You rotate it over and you look at it, and when you're gauging this with this drill gauge, your chisel point should be center on one of these lines here. And what I'm saying, when you rotate and you check the other side, it should be lined up with the same number as the other side. Okay, and this is a 118 degree gauge, just like your standard jobber drills. I usually keep it down there on the grinder, but I'm going to go ahead and get this thing fired off. I really didn't want to show this part of it yet because I need to true up these grinding wheels, and I haven't done it yet. And this side over here has always been missing a plate, and I've been wanting to build one to bring this back up the center line like it should. I used to just have a little block clamped down over here, and I took it off when I moved it, and I haven't fixed it yet. But the wheels aren't exactly true, so I get a little bit of bouncing, which kind of messes you up when you're grinding the drill. But I've kind of learned to work around it, but I do plan on truing up these wheels here sometime in the near future. I just haven't got to it yet. We're going to turn that sucker on. It takes it a few seconds to get rolling. Now it's moving. I'm going to show you how I grind, all right? You see that? Fresh grind there? This side I haven't hit yet. What you want to do, once you get your angle set, try to keep that same angle. You don't want to twist it, you don't want to roll it. You don't want to roll it up. You want to keep it straight. And you just rotate the drill down to give you your clearance back here. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and hit the other side. where my old grind was and where my fresh grind is. I'm very close to matching what I had there before. If you rotate the drill when you're pivoting and you rotate it, you're not going to have a nice square chisel edge there, which it really isn't a big deal if you're using pilot holes when you're drilling, and that's something that I always do, is use pilot holes. I'm going to go ahead and keep grinding this and get that chipped edge out of there. You do one side and you flip it over and do the other to help keep them equal. My chisel edge, the chisel point angle correct. That has to do with how you position it. This way, when you go in there. But I've almost got that chip spot out of there. I'm going to do it again. Tray down here, just cooling it off. And once you do your grind, I haven't checked it yet, but you just put your gauge up here and you can see how far off you are. I've actually been cutting way too much over here on the inside. I got a little bit of a gap there. Flip it over and look at the other side. It's a little bit off. Those sparks on there to kind of see where I'm at on the face of the cutting edge here. And I'm still a little off on that side. I'm still off on that side, but I'm just going to end that right there, because I just wanted to give you a demonstration on how I'm grinding these big drill bits. And you see that looks like a nice grind. You have to focus on your relief angle back here to make sure you're not rubbing. If you don't give it enough, you'll be rubbing out here and it won't be drilling. Okay? So I know the angle's not perfect because of the gauge that I just used, but whenever I'm out here working, I'll touch this up again to make sure it's working like it's supposed to. I just want to give you a good demonstration of how I hand grind a drill bit. And it doesn't have to be these big ones either. I mean, it's the small ones. You're over here hand grinding. All right, so that was a quick demonstration on how I grind my drill bits. I hope it was kind of informative. I know I kind of rushed through some of the things, and there's probably still a lot of questions to be answered here, but I wanted to just basically show you how I do it, how I hand grind the drills, and how I use the little drill grinder down there. And one other thing I was going to touch on real quick before I end this is I was using my coarse grinding wheel over there on the grinder to show you this. But usually what I do after I grind them is I'll take one of my little honing sticks here, and you can take that honing stick and just kind of rub this edge just like you would a high-speed tool for the lathe. And you just kind of, you rub it, it smooths out that edge, you know, from using that coarse grinding wheel over there, which it's not really hurting. Most of the time I'm just using these for just roughing out a hole, so it's not real critical on the finish that it's putting in there. But if I want to do a nicer job, I'll take this honing stick and just do a quick hone on these cutting edges, like so. Sometimes you'll have a little built up, you can feel just a little bit of a built up edge on the other side, and you can take it and just rub it a few times on that face, and it gets rid of that metal that's built up on the cutting edge. Alright, you can hand hone this thing and just put you a really nice smooth cutting edge all the way across that thing. That's just another thing that I do with most of my big drills. And then again, the little drill gauge. If you ain't got one of these and you do some hand grinding, get one of these things. It'll cost you about $12, and you use this to gauge your angle and to see where your chisel edge is. If you've got an evenly ground cutting flute on each side, okay. So that's about it. That's my take on drill grinding. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. All right, later.